Hi guys, Debbie here from the Real Estate Agent Referral Network, and I'm joined today by Landon Brazile, and Landon is the owner of ZFind, and such a cool company. So Landon was telling me a story just before we started recording, and I thought it was so cool and so interesting. But Landon, first of all, welcome to the group,
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and like what ZFind is and how you got started and that kind of stuff.
For sure. I definitely appreciate you giving me this opportunity. You're doing amazing things. So just want to let you know that first.
Thank you.
So I'll start before ZFind even happened. So I went to school at the University of Cincinnati. That's where I graduated. I played college football there. I was more interested in business than football. Even if all my college coaches was watching this call, they'd be like, "That's very true." And I was just more so focused on business than football. I had a full scholarship. I made sure I did everything right. Made sure, I had everything done the right way. Like, I didn't disrespect anybody, but I just solely cared more about business than the game of football, because I knew that at some point football was going to end and I needed to, have something next to do. And so in college, I would, like I used to sell shoes. So I had an eBay store. I was one of the highest rated eBay sellers for auctions. And what I used to do is I would auction shoes on eBay, and they were like the, unreleased shoes, or the shoes that, nobody could get, things like that. And I would start at like $99, and they would go all the way up to like $1,000. And so in college, as a college athlete, I was making like $10,000 a week, but I had to do it. I had to do it quietly, because as a college athlete, you're not allowed to make money. And so, that was the issue. So I had to be very, very secretive about it. But unfortunately, coaches did find out, compliance did find out. I also had a YouTube channel. Like, they told me to shut my YouTube channel down, or they would take all the revenue that would come from it. So I was like, I'm gonna just chill out right now. I'm gonna like focus on school. And I don't regret it, but I wish I would have just stuck to what I was doing, because clearly, if the school wants to take something from you that's doing well, that means you are doing a good thing. So if I would have just stuck with it, I probably would have seen even more success. But I cared so much about, what my parents were thinking, about my scholarship, not losing my scholarship, having to pay for school, like all these different things that kind of just kept me in the straight line of like, let me just graduate, get this over with, and then get into the real world.
I don't know, at $10,000 a week, I bet you could have paid for school.
No, I definitely could have, but I was I was so I was so concerned about what other people would think if I just dropped, because I always had aspirations to do business and things like that, but I never thought about, okay, I'm gonna just drop out because of this. Like, I don't I've been so used to seeing people work my entire life, but not in business. So I only knew the traditional right things to do. I didn't know like the like non-traditional things like that. I just knew how to make money because I was so interested in business myself. But I just wasn't, I didn't think that if I did that, it would be a good risk. Like, I saw it as a bad risk. Now, looking back, if I had kids, I'd be like, look, go ahead, do that. Go, just drop out, like, do your thing. And, if it doesn't work out, like, I'll support you, because you took that jump, to at least try to make something happen. So long story short, I graduated, and I immediately knew that after I graduated college and got my very first job, I had never worked a job before at all. But once I got my first job, I knew for a fact that I needed to invest in real estate. So what I did was I got a job at Tesla. Tesla laid me off after 2 months. So I was like, I'm never getting a job where if I get a job I'm at the mercy of what that job does. So I was like, I need to learn a skill. So I learned web development. I I learned it in like 2 months. I only knew like 60% of it. I did a certification. I didn't pass the certification, but I instantly applied for jobs, and I ended up getting a job at a company that developed websites for car dealerships. So they flew me out to Vermont for training. I was super unqualified, but I still got the job because they liked my drive. They liked how passionate I was, what I was willing to do, learn, ask questions. Like I was honest with them. I'm like, look, I just learned this, but I saw an opportunity. I want to take it. So they ended up not putting me at the best level for web development, but more like a digital marketer kind of. And I was getting $38,000 a year before taxes. So I wasn't getting paid a lot, but I was like, I don't really care about the job thing. I'm just trying to invest in real estate. So I saved up 23,000 of that $38,000 to invest in a duplex as a down payment in Dallas. Took that money, invested, and I rented out one side for Airbnb and lived on the other side. So that was my start into the Airbnb world. It gets pretty interesting because I also was running a digital marketing agency for realtors, and I was helping them get connected with sellers. And so I was taking all my Airbnb income, like I was getting a lot of money through Airbnb because it was just popping at the time. Like it was doing really, really well. And I was taking all that money and investing it into my agency for realtors. So I was like using it to run ads. I was using it to build a team, like all these different things. And at a certain point, I'm like, I cannot keep taking this money and putting it into a different business because I have to pay bills in this Airbnb business. So at the time, I also was working my job as well, but I wasn't getting paid that much, like as it was. So it's not like it really did anything for me. So what I started doing was I started taking out loans to invest into my digital marketing agency. And I'll just say it didn't work out that well because I thought that the money would change everything and I wouldn't really have to increase my skills at certain things. So it didn't go as planned. But what I learned was I need to hone in on certain skills and get better. Just keep getting better at anything that I want to do. And eventually I will succeed and I will make money. So I learned my sales skills, everything like that. But long story short, I ended up taking out too many loans. And I put myself in a position where I'll just fast forward like 6 months to where my credit was so bad that um I could not get approved for apartments when I wanted to do Airbnb. So I skipped a whole lot. I actually talk about this on my workshop like in full, but I put myself in a position where I could not get approved for like leases for Airbnb, to where I had to figure out how I could still scale my portfolio. And I did. I scaled it from 2 units to 15 units in 6 months by some of these things that I did. But I was like, I need to partner with people that also want to do Airbnb, or I need to partner with a property owner that may want to rent their property out, but they don't realize the money that they can make on Airbnb. So I can partner with them so I don't have to apply for this lease or apply so that they can see my credit. And instead, I can show them my skill and how I can help them make money. So I would go directly after property owners that own mansions and big houses because they understood business. They understood, like, look, this guy is trying to make me money. I see what he's trying to do. Like, I probably like when I was, in my school days or when I was in my entrepreneur days, I took massive risks. This guy's probably trying to do the same thing. He has a plan. He has a blueprint. Let's go for it. So my very first deal like that was a property that had a pool and a basketball court. And we was doing $20,000 a month on Airbnb. It wasn't getting rented out that much, but we were just charging a lot. Like we was charging like $1,500 a night. And that property actually went viral because this kid on TikTok that did like TikTok videos, he recorded a video as if that property was his house. And so I saw it randomly just scrolling through the algorithm and saw it. And I made a video saying, don't believe everything that you see on TikTok. Like this guy is clearly lying that it's not his property. I think I was a little too mean, like in that video, but I basically showed the keys, and took a tour through the entire property in a TikTok clip. And that video just kind of blew up. So like from there, I just started getting a bunch of leads of people that was like, oh, I'm interested in doing what you're doing. I'm interested in learning how you do this, whatever. So I started coaching people. And when I was coaching people, I realized that no matter how good someone like is, sometimes it's just still hard for them to get a property because they are introverted. They don't know how to talk to these property owners. They stutter, like whatever the case may be. So I realized that since I can't get approved for leases as it is, and I am not so much interested in the Airbnb business, I'm more so in helping people. I'm gonna just get properties for people solely. That's all I'm gonna focus on. And so for me to get my start, I did have Airbnb students as coaching, but what I knew that would really take off is if I just help people completely for free. So I had helped 70 people completely for free until I turned this into a real business. And so I had helped 70 people get their first unit. I was giving units to friends. I would talk to property owners. I'd be like, look, I can take your whole building. Like it'll be like 10 units that were vacant. I'd be like, I can take your whole building, get it leased out by the end of the week. They're like, it's no way that you'll do that. Like this property has been sitting on Zillow and apartments.com for weeks. There's no way you'll get it leased out. And I mean, if you're offering something to somebody for free and it makes sense and it makes money, they're gonna think it's too good to be true. But I was really, really being genuine about it. And these properties would just close so fast because they knew that they didn't have to pay anything to me. And so sometimes I would be giving units away to friends and things like that for free. And they would just gift me units. They'd be like, look, thank you for being a good friend. I want to give you 2 of the units that you gave me 5 for. So it's like I would grow my portfolio through just being genuine about what I was doing simply because I just needed to get testimonials so I could turn this into a real business. And then after that, that's when it pretty much took off. And I started offering it as a service where we would find someone's Airbnb for them. And then we would launch their Airbnb for them. And then we would manage their Airbnb for them. And I started realizing that people were more so interested in just finding the properties because some of them were Airbnb operators that didn't need the property to be launched for them or managed for them. So I'm like, this actually looks like a good market. Let me focus solely on finding properties for people. That was one of our services. We turned that service into a whole new company called ZFind. And, the rest is history. Now we have a platform where all the properties on the platform are approved for Airbnb, and property owners are uploading their properties to our platform every single day.
That's so cool. So, you told me a story right before we started about listing or leasing 40 units in one building in Florida in a week, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yes. Yep.
Tell us about that. I mean, that's like crazy.
Yeah. So I'll give the building away. So the building is called Yotel Pad Miami. Basically, it was a brand new building, and the developer of the building was looking to rent out their units to Airbnb. Now, because the building is actually a condo, most condos don't allow Airbnb because of HOA. But this developer in particular was okay with doing Airbnb because he could charge more for his units instead of charging less. So like a 1 bedroom at the property was like 3,500, or like a 1 bedroom that was bigger was like 4,000. But the properties were all furnished with like smart furniture, like the beds that fold down from the wall, like the desks that come out the walls, like those type of things. So it was very interesting. And so my team was already looking for properties. Like I've we're probably talking to 1,000, 2,000 property owners a week, right? So we were just pounding, cold calling, emails, things like that. And a realtor had reached out to us and said, hey, like I have a building, but I was actually referred to you guys from someone who has used you guys' program before. And your name looks familiar. I've seen it pop up a few times. I responded to you guys. I haven't heard anything back from anyone. So this is like my 3rd time reaching out. So my team member was like, hey, Landon, like this realtor reached out to me. they have this building in Miami. Would you mind like taking a look at this? So at the time, I was only dealing with deals that were over 10 units. Like, I didn't want to deal with anything that was under 10 units because I would be flying to like Arizona or to Texas or to Ohio to take property owners out to lunch to just, build a relationship with them and, see what could come out of it, right? Because I was just trying to get their properties to our platform or get their properties so I could send it out in a blast email to everyone that, signed up with us. And so I, I was looking through the deal in Miami and I'm like, this is very interesting, but I'm like, these rents are so high. I have no idea who is going to, take these properties. So I'm just thinking in my head, like, I wouldn't pay 4,000 for a 1 bedroom. And so that was a limited belief that I was like, well, I'm, it's not like, it's not about me. It's about other people and what they can afford and what they want. So what I did was I found out everything about the lease, everything that they did, the insurances, things like that, the condo. Talked to the realtor, talked to the front office. They told me everything. It was so much stuff that's involved. The developer, it was just so much stuff that was involved because it's a condo. And then Miami alone has like, you have to escrow, you have to escrow rent. Like it's so much stuff that's involved with Miami when it comes to leases. It was just a whole, like, I had to learn all that because when I'm talking to someone that's interested in the unit, they're going to ask me these same questions. So I can't be not knowledgeable about what's going on because we were charging a service we were charging to use our service. So if someone at the time we were charging 1,500 per unit to find it, or we were charging 2,500 to launch the unit. So if someone's paying us 2,500, they want to know every detail about the property. So I'm like, it's no way someone's going to pay us 2,500 and then they're going to go and pay, because in Florida, you have to pay first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit. So they were paying $12,000 for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and the lease had to start immediately. Like, it's not like they could wait, like things like that. So I'm like, it's no way this is going to happen. So what I did is I just did blast promotion, blast marketing on my social media. I only had like 1,200 followers at the time on Instagram. I blasted it to our entire list, even the people that hadn't even worked with us yet. Like, I just blasted it to everybody. And I even put it on Facebook and groups and things like that. And slowly but surely, like, people started being like, look, like, I'm interested in this building. Like, what's the details? I put everything in there. I like, the thing that I've noticed with a lot of property locators is they're not honest with everything because they need to make a sale. So like, they won't share the address or they won't share all the details because they want someone to be curious enough to ask them more information so that they can tell them enough information to get the sale. So I realized that I can't do that. If they get the address, it's okay. If they go sign a lease, then I know that they're a shady person. Like, if they got the address from me and they went behind my back and signed a lease, they're just a shady person. I'd rather not deal with that person than to deal with that person and build a relationship with that person and realize they're shady in the future. So I just realized I got to give people as much as possible. So we ended up closing that deal. And what happened was, it was people that were like, it was a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, majority of them were entrepreneurs or people that had taken out loans. And the deal just closed so fast because I was giving away all the information. Like I said, there's nobody in this industry that does property locating. You can go in these Facebook groups. They're not giving away the address for anything. Like, they will not tell you the address unless you give them some form of payment. And so that's how I realized that the only way that I can get as many people as possible to trust me is if I give them like everything. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be honest people and it's going to be dishonest people. I really only care to work with the honest people. So I'll let everything happen to the dishonest people, karma, all that stuff, and I'll just deal with the honest people. And so when I look back on it, it's not hard to close that many units in 1 week because people will trust you if you don't lie to them. And so, it works out for us now. We give all addresses away. unlimited properties, and they barely are paying anything, and they're getting all that information. So they're like, I mean, why not? And so
So now you have a workshop and a course that you teach every Sunday, right? And the course is free.
yes,
They can come to your workshop for free on Sunday and learn how to do this rental arbitrage that you're talking about.
right, yeah. So every Sunday, I'm teaching realtors how to unlock real estate commissions through Airbnb leases without spending any money on marketing to grow their database and also to close deals. This is a high demand industry. It's very possible. I've been doing it for years. I've taught people how to do it for years. There's other people that have been doing it for years. So, real estate agents are just missing out on commission. They're able to undercut the market because they can offer this for free to all these clients because they make their commission from the building and the property owner. So it just works out really well for realtors. Brokerages tell realtors that there's no money in leasing, and I completely understand that because with a regular lease, you're working with a client, and then a year later they don't need you until a year later, like until they are ready to buy a property or move again. So you're not going to deal with that client for a while. Corporate leases, if I get a unit today and my business starts making money and I want to expand my portfolio tomorrow or next week or next month, I'm going back to that same realtor to help me find a property in that same market. So I could be a realtor and work with a client that has came to me 10 times throughout the year and have 50 clients.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha. That's pretty amazing. So, um, you we're going to put your contact information, how they would get a hold of you. Um, when we post this on Facebook, you'll put it down there and I'll put it up on YouTube and you'll comment with all of your contact information.
cool.
Um, is there something easy that you can give us now that is the link to your workshop on Sundays?
Yes. So all you're gonna do is just type in this URL. It's gonna be agents like real estate agents dot zfind. So ZI dash FIND find.com/free. And so that's the link to the workshop to register. And that's all they need.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm so excited. This could be really cool. There's so many agents out there that are struggling, and this could be a great little niche for them to really plug into and be able to make some money quickly
Mhm.
and turn that around. The market is a little bit you know, unknown right now. So having something like this that they can plug into and make some money pretty quickly is really a cool thing.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to give you, the cool part about this is it doesn't interfere with their real estate license. And on top of that, the clients that they get through rental arbitrage, they eventually will make enough money to go buy a property. Or they may have properties already that they need to sell. Like I'm a real estate investor myself. I do rental arbitrage. If a realtor got me a rental arbitrage property in a specific city, I'm gonna be like, hey, look, my Airbnbs are doing really well. I'm tired of paying these property owners rent every month. Do you know of any properties that I can invest in? And because I've worked with this realtor for so long, I trust this realtor. So, it helps with the buy and sell process. And these leases could take a week to close, so you're not waiting 30 days.
Right, right, yeah. That's a really quick turnaround time. That's why I say they can make some quick money doing something that applies to their license but doesn't require.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, love it, love it, love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for hanging out with me today and for sharing all of this knowledge that you have about rental arbitrage and really helping our members find another way to add another income stream to their business.
Yeah, I truly appreciate it. You're doing an amazing job for an amazing group. I don't have anything negative to say. So I truly appreciate everything that you're doing for the community and continue to, serve everyone the way you're doing it.
Thank you so much, Brandon. All right.